Hey there, fellow rematchers. Welcome back to another episode of Rematch News. In this episode, we're breaking down the recent ranking system changes, including how ranked demotions will now work, and the newly introduced dynamic ranking system. We'll also take a look at the future for ranking and matchmaking, and finally, we'll discuss the current state of the game, which honestly isn't looking great. Alright, let's get into it. This is Rematch News on the 24th of October, 2025. Okay, so we're going to start out by just looking at this dev blog on the ranking system update that was just posted. In this video, we're not going to look at the patch 5 patch notes because I already covered all of them in my previous video. So if you haven't watched that, go watch it. Let's just read through this and I will give you my understanding of it to help you guys understand it. And yeah, just to save you from having to read through it all yourself. Okay, so we're not going to read the intro, but basically they say that there is two topics in this: league demotions and a dynamic ranking system. Okay, so basically we should start with this one. So they say that players will have 2 total shields protecting them from a demotion. Then they say after reaching 0 RP at the bottom of a rank, so Division 3, players will enter a risk of demotion state and they will lose their first shield. So it sounds like once you lose one game, you both enter the risk of demotion state and you lose your first shield at the same time. Then they say after each loss at 0 RP, the player will lose a shield. After losing all shields, so both of those shields, so basically after losing 2 matches, so getting into 0 RP and then 0 RP, that's what my understanding is. After losing all shields, players will enter a last chance, and their next loss will result in a demotion to the lower league, so then the next rank down. A win while in risk of demotion will take the player out of that state and give them the win's RP and restore 1 shield. So if you get a win when you're in risk of demotion, it'll restore 1 of your shields, but not both of them. And then, so presumably if you then lose again, you enter that risk of demotion, you'll lose another shield, and then you maybe 1 more loss and then you're out. Then you'll go to the next rank down. We want to add more stakes to the rank system, but we also want to take some of the tension off the demotion experience. Having multiple chances to stay in the current league should allow players to avoid suffering too much from the natural variance of game results. So you can see here they've got last chance. Looks like both of their shields have been broken. Last chance, next loss, they're going to get into silver. So I don't have any footage of this because I'm very far into Elite, so I'm never going to have any on my own account. But yeah, and I'm sure you guys will see it yourself when you play. All right, so now let's talk about the dynamic ranking system. So on top of their normal RP gains and losses at the end of a game, a player's RP will be slightly adjusted according to their MMR and the expected MMR of their current rank. So basically there's like an average maybe MMR of their current rank, or the expected MMR of their current rank, what the MMR you should have if you are whatever rank the game says you are. And then your RP losses and gains will be compared to that and then either adjusted up or adjusted down, you know. So the adjustment does not depend, this is important, on the MMR or rank of the other players in the game. So it's not like in Rocket League where your gains or losses depend on who you're playing against. So if you're like Diamond and you come up against a champion team, you will gain a lot if you beat them and you won't lose much if you lose to them, because it's like you're playing against, you know, if you're playing against Messi or whatever, you shouldn't really be judged on that, right? Because you're nowhere near as good as him. Whereas if he loses to you, he should lose massive reputation points. You know, that's basically how it works in a lot of other games. But in this game, it doesn't work like that. So it doesn't compare your rank to your opponents or your teammates. The MMR system we use allows us to estimate your skill level and create balanced matches. And our data shows that it's efficient at doing so. Yeah, cool. In popular regions. Dynamic ranking will adjust your rank at the end of games to place you over time in a league and division that more closely represents your actual skill level. These adjustments will be small to begin with, 3 points maximum per game. So that'll be -3 or +3, I'm assuming. So yeah, I'm not sure. So these are so I wonder if that means like from the average of 20 or the base of 20, it can go down to 17 or up to 23. maybe, I think that's what that means. We will be closely observing the impact of this system to determine if these adjustments should be bigger in the future. For example, if I am in Platinum Division, but my hidden MMR value is closer to the average of elite players' MMR, I will gain more RP after wins and lose and less RP after losses. So that makes sense. The dynamic ranking system is part of our ranking system that we wanted to have at launch, but had to push back to focus on the more pressing issues of stability and performance. Yeah, well, couldn't have guessed that was the case. It is very similar in logic to the systems in other games like League of Legends. Oh, that's interesting. I haven't played that, so I don't really know how it works in that. Its absence meant that some players could exploit the ranking system to get higher ranks than they should be, but also meant that some players had a very hard time reaching their real rank. I definitely found that was the case early on. I was like gold, and I just could not get out of gold. So we expect to have a significant impact on player distribution across rank, and should over time ensure ranks are much better representation of player skills. Yeah. So yeah, my understanding is basically that you know, if you find yourself in a situation where you're being carried, so if your performance is not very good and you're sort of, you know, maybe playing in a squad with like other elite players, but you're like gold, your actual MMR in the system will be gold, you know, ish, but you're getting win after win after win after win. So you in the old system, you'd be gaining 20 RP each time, but because your actual MMR, so your actual skill, is still gold, you in the new system, you won't be gaining as much. So you'll probably just be gaining like 17 each time. And that's because your performance in those matches is probably quite poor. You know, you probably don't have many points. You're probably not getting many interceptions. You're probably, I don't know if they use tackle, like getting tackled and stuff. You're probably missing a lot of shots, like blah, blah, blah. So you shouldn't really be gaining very much from those wins. Your teammates should be gaining it because they're the ones doing all the work, but your actual performances are not that great because you're basically getting carried. So that's sort of my understanding, and that does make sense. I think it should sort of work like that. So anyway, hopefully that helps you understand it. Okay, just quickly before we get on to the rest of the video, I just want to let you guys know that I have a merch store with both Rematch items and side type items, as well as some Mogz branded items. I created all of them myself, and purchasing one helps to support the channel, so go check it out. Also, if you're looking for a VPN, I highly recommend ExpressVPN. I use it myself and it works great for web security, switching regions to watch stuff in other countries, and for gaming. So check out ExpressVPN via my affiliate link on screen and in the video description. Alright, that's enough of my ad, let's get on to the rest of the video. Now let's read the bit where they talk about the future of this system. So they say ranking and matchmaking next steps. This update should deeply change the ranking experience for all players, and we will give it a bit of time to settle. We do already have next steps in mind to make it feel more fair and rewarding, and we're looking at the subject of solo queue versus pre-made issues specifically. 100% think this is a huge issue, because the experience of solo queuing in this game is completely different to the pre-made. Like, if you like my sort of take on this, the ranking system in this game, at least until now, has been if you play in a squad regularly and you don't play solo queue, you will be elite. Like you'll get to elite. It really doesn't matter who you're playing with. If you guys all play together regularly, you'll get to elite in no time. Like it's really a matter of time. And that if you solo queue, you probably struggle hard, you know, unless you're a really, really strong attacking player and you can just beat, like if you're like a morph and you can just beat the entire team, then you're not going to be able to carry to wins in solo queue. So yeah, it hasn't been working well at all. So basically, yeah, if you guys want to rank up, just find yourself a squad, join my Discord server, join the official Discord servers, find a squad, and you'll rank up to elite probably in no time. All right, let's finish this. Allowing pre-mades in ranked, whatever the difference in skill between players, is better for the player and social experience in general. By reducing friction to play with your friends, by reducing friction to play with friends. But it does have a big impact on the disparity of skill levels, yeah, which is exactly what I was just saying. You'll see in games. For the moment, our data surprisingly doesn't show a huge impact on win rate when playing as a pre-made rather than a solo player. That is really surprising. And we are working on improving our data tracking tools to have a better insight into the subject and make the right decisions going forward. Wow, that's really interesting. I mean, that goes against what I was just saying. yeah, I don't know how much they try to match players, like teams with teams and like pre-mods with pre-mods and solos with solos. I have no idea what's going on in the background there. Maybe they do already have a system there, but yeah, that is really interesting. I stand by it. I mean, I feel like you're definitely gonna have more wins if you're playing in a squad. It's definitely been my experience, and I never, but yeah, that is just my experience. So anyway, you got to follow the data, I guess. Anyway, and they say, once again, thank you for all playing Rematch. See you next time. Yeah, cool. All right, so that's it for that. I think I gave all my thoughts on that. Now I just want to briefly talk about the current state of the game. And I mean, if we just look at the numbers, so if we look at Rematch Steam charts, there's 1,300 on right now. This is a very steady decline. Like, we saw a bump in free weekend, but otherwise the numbers basically returned to what they were, and they're even lower. They were down at like 6,000 now, which is really bad. And I've been finding that I've been playing against the same squads over and over and over, which is not a great sign either. But so it is a bit of a worry. Also, I found last night things were extremely... The performance was horrible. Lots of lag, lots of disconnects, constant disconnects. Like, I honestly couldn't even get into a game. I was playing with a squad, as always, and we couldn't find a match because every time we found a match, we couldn't get into a match because every time we did, at least one player crashed and it just kicked us back out to the lobby. And that went on for like half an hour until I gave up and went to play Rocket League. So that's pretty bad. That's the worst I've ever seen it. And... yeah, I do like the changes in terms of the dive. I feel like the outfield dive is more powerful now, and I think that's how it should be. The missile meta's definitely been reduced a bit, you know, in potency, so that's really good. But I don't like the changes they made to the Ippy slide and the Vexus dash. I think they're just not as fun to use anymore, and I just think they need to, I don't know what's happened to the Vexus dash, but it's completely screwed in game, you know, and it works fine when you're in free play, but when you get into a game, it doesn't work like 90% of the time. So I don't like that difference. I think free play should be basically the same as in game. I don't think there should be I mean, maybe not exactly the same, but it shouldn't be as different as it is. You know, now if you want to simulate like an in-game experience, you need to go into a custom match, which is kind of ridiculous. Like it defeats the purpose of free play if free play doesn't represent the real live match experience at all. Like, they're completely different in terms of skill moves and stuff. So I think that's crazy. I don't know. I'm not sure what's causing that. I guess it's their netcode, because you're not really online when you're playing free play, but yeah, it definitely is concerning, because when you play Rocket League, the free play experience and the live experience are essentially the same. You can practice things in free play and then take them into a live match, and it's the same thing. You can implement them, other than having other players on the field. But in Rematch, it just isn't like that these days anyway. It used to be, but it's not these days. So I think that's definitely a concern, and yeah, obviously player numbers declining really, really bad. So I really hope that this season brings more changes. I'm looking forward to the new game modes. The Fireball one sounds interesting, so just based on the name alone. So really looking forward to that. Yeah. Anyway, those are my thoughts. I'm not really feeling that optimistic about the game at the moment. But I'll keep making content. I've got a tutorial that I'm going to start working on for defense soon, so it'll be kind of an updated version of my defense tutorial. Still, the other one's still relevant though, so you haven't watched that. So if you haven't watched that, yeah, go check it out. Yeah, as always, guys, come join the Mogz Discord server if you want to hang out with me and the Mogz viewers. Check out my other channel. I'm just about to upload a video on Arc Raiders, to kind of beginner's guide, and I'll be covering that game a little bit more as it gets after it launches. I'll also be doing Light No Fire on that channel, which I'm really looking forward to. That's going to be my main game. And I'm also doing side type content on a new channel. So yeah, if you're interested in any of those games, go check out those channels. And as always, guys, let me know all your thoughts down below. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if not. Subscribe for more videos like this. I'll see you guys in the next one.